හරිම සුමුදුයි.
Tonight on First at 9, this Tuesday, the 5th of March 2024. Against deprivation, police fire tear gas and water cannons at protesting students in Colombo. Drama ensues at the Colombo National Hospital. Salary controversy. Political party leaders and the Public Finance Committee grill CBSL officials over the recent self-issued salary hike. Parliament heats up over the matter. National carrier. Government aims to reduce the debt burden of Sri Lankan Airlines, extends the deadline to submit expressions of interest. Public-private partnership. Cabinet decides to call for investors to develop the Colombo port as a leisure and commercial project.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසින් ලබාගත හැක.
From Derana, this is Derana First at 9 with Indivari Amuata and Mahish Johnny. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
And a very good evening, everyone. Welcome to First at 9, where we bring you the latest from here at home, all around the world, from the world of sports, weather, business, everything that matters to you right here on First at 9. A very good evening, Indivari.
Very good evening, Mahesh. Whether you're watching at home or on mobile, a very warm welcome to you. We'll take you through the entire developments here at home. Of course, we saw a no confidence motion being presented against the speaker. Amidst developments here, our first headline story was about the protests. We witnessed tear gas and water cannons being
a regular occurrence. As we move on, then there is a story about Sri Lankan Airlines. They had the bid, but apparently extended the deadline.
Yes, so they're given a window of 45 days more. So we're wondering,
was it because they didn't get any serious bidders, or?
Let's just say Sri Lanka needs more time to evaluate the conditions in which we will be bringing an investor in or welcoming an investor.
And then there's that story from all around the world which is making global headlines. Donald J. Trump. Now, apparently, the Supreme Court said he can run and nobody can remove him. And if you want to remove him from the ballot, that has to be done at the vote. So that's a big story there as well.
On top of that, in a historic vote in France, a progressive vote, I must say, French Parliament made abortion a constitutional right.
Exactly. Very interesting stories from here at home and around the world. So let's begin tonight's bulletin, and we begin in our nation's parliament. Now, officials of the central bank were summoned before the Committee on Public Finance and a subsequent party leaders meeting to question the latest salary hike given to the central bank staff.
And also we will be talking about Sri Lankan Airlines. That is the first story we want to bring to you while you tease the central bank salary controversy. Minister of Ports, Shipping and Aviation Nimal Siripal de Silva revealed that the state-owned restructuring unit has extended the deadline for the submission of the expression of interest for Sri Lankan Airlines scheduled to end today by another 45 days. He added that the investors who are planning to submit EOIs today can amend their proposal and resubmit a new one based on current developments.
Now, this development comes in the wake of the Sri Lankan government's attempt to restructure some of the state-owned enterprises that have become a financial burden on the country's finances. finances.
Commenting on the rationale for the extension, he said that the International Finance Cooperation, the World Bank's investment and transactions arm, which was appointed as a transaction advisor for Sri Lankan Airlines merger, had noted that the strategy or staggering debt of the airline, which is about $1.2 billion US, would deter quality EOIs coming through.
Now, to this end, the minister said that the government would be reducing the debt of the national carrier by half via an interim arrangement, which is believed will make the airline more attractive to a potential investor.
The expression of interest were called by the state-owned enterprises restructuring unit, and it was to be closed today. But the restructuring unit has got a letter from IFC, nominated by the World Bank Group, have suggested that it is very unlikely we will get very good offers or reputed airlines will come and take over the management of Sri Lankan Airlines with debt of rupees 1.2 billion. Having taken this matter into consideration, the President, Ranil Wickremesinghe, as the Finance Minister, graciously agreed for these things to take over the debt of rupees 210 million US due from Sri Lankan Airlines to Bank of Ceylon and People's Bank. Another 68.2 million US overdraft in the Bank of Ceylon. And already international bond of US billion 175, the Treasury has tendered a guarantee. And Bank of Ceylon and People's Bank, there is another Sri Lankan rupees 31.4 billion for which the Treasury guarantee and letter of comfort has been given. And already the Treasury has absorbed amount of rupees 102 billion debt which has to be given to the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation due from the Sri Lankan Airlines. Now, when we take all these things together, the balance sheet of the Sri Lankan Airlines, the debt will be reduced to about half of the amount which is there now. So therefore we feel that there will be more airlines and entrepreneurs or the investors who will come. Now the airline becomes attractive. Government is expecting this process to be completed within a period of 6 months, and we will get money from the catering as well as from the ground handling. And we are confident that we will be able to get more than 500 million from restructuring this airline. That money will directly come into the treasury and there will be no burden on the people of Sri Lanka. I have entrusted my secretary, Mr. Ruwan Chandra, to ensure that every 2 weeks we will monitor the income and expenditure, and we will not allow any increase of any salaries or any other perks to be given to any of the employees in the Sri Lankan Airlines during this period of 6 months. In the same time, I have taken a decision to curtail all the unnecessary foreign travel, etc.
What about those who have already submitted expression of interest?
They are given a chance to amend their expression of interest. No one has submitted because we extended no. Since we extended, nobody wants to know what their proposals are. No one has submitted up to now. There may be people who are prepared to submit, but when we give the extension, they have not submitted. They will submit only on the 22nd of April. Because now the structure also changed, Earlier there was debt of 1.2 billion which they have to bear. Now it has come down to about 500. So it will be more attractive offer now. මොකද මේ තුනම catering, ground handling, airline අයිති එක සමාගමට. ශ්‍රී ලංකන් airline සමාගමට අපි මේක විකුණන්නේ මේකේ කොටස්. විදේශී ආයෝජකයෙක් එනවා නම් කොටස් 149යි අපිට දෙන්න පුළුවන්. ශ්‍රී ලංකන් ආයෝජකයෙක් එනවා නම් ඔවුන්ගේ investment එකේ ප්‍රමාණය හැටියට ඊට වැඩි කරන්න පුළුවන්.
Well, we want to bring that initial story which we told you earlier on in the bulletin with regard to the central bank salary hike. Now, the officials of the central bank were summoned before the Committee on Public Finance and a subsequent party leaders meeting to question the latest salary hike given to the central bank staff. Now, during the meeting, officials of the central bank were advised to take immediate action to revise the salary increments. However, responding to questions, the central bank governor said that the central bank has not advised that at any time salary hikes should not be conferred, and added that salaries must be increased as the country is recovering
from an economic crisis.
He also said that throughout the history of 70 years of service, the central bank has not taken the permission of Parliament when increasing salaries of the staff.
At about 10:30 a.m. today, the party leaders' meeting was held in Parliament, where senior officials led by the Governor of Central Bank were summoned. Special permission was granted to other members of Parliament to participate in today's party leaders' meeting. The MPs who participated in the meeting went on to express their displeasure at the higher officials of the Central Bank regarding the increase in employee salaries through a self-imposed decision. The MPs who participated in the meeting stated that what was expected from the independence of the central bank through the new act was the formulation of correct policies related to the country's economy without political interference and not the increase of salaries via independent decisions. As such, they pointed out that although there are provisions for the independence of the central bank in the new Central Bank Act, there is no opportunity to increase salaries based on independent decisions. In response, officials led by Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, stated that there are provisions for that according to sections 5, 8 and 23 of the Act. Further, they confirmed that these expenses would be drawn from the Central Bank Fund and not from the Consolidated Fund. Party leaders and councillors in turn responded that the approval of Parliament, which is responsible for public finances, is necessary for this kind of salary increase as the Central Bank Fund is ultimately a people's fund. The MPs who participated in the party leaders' meeting informed the central bank officials that an additional 232 million rupees will be spent monthly due to this salary increase, and that it is not ethical to increase salaries insensitively at a time when the people of the country are suffering. At the culmination of the party leaders' meeting, the Parliamentary Committee on Public Finance was held, which the central bank chief was subsequently attended.
මේ අපි පඩි වැඩි කරලා තියෙන්නේ අපේ තියෙන අර ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඔබතුමාලා කිව්ව විදිහට පනතේ මහ බැංකුවේ මුදල් මණ්ඩලයට අවශ්‍ය
නෑ මෙහෙමයි අධිපතිතුමා පොඩ්ඩක් මට විනාඩියක් දෙන්න.
කලෙක්ටිව් ඇග්‍රීමන්ට් එක තමයි පාවිච්චි කරපු ඉන්ස්ට්‍රුමන්ට් එක මෙතෙක් කල්.
නෑ මෙහෙමනේ
ඒක ලියාපදිංචි කරලා නෑ කම්කරු නීති යටතේ ලියාපදිංචි කිරීමක් කළා නෑ. එතන අඩුපාඩුවක් තියෙනවා ඒක ගැන පබ්ලික් ෆයිනෑන්ස් යටතේ මහ බැංකුවේ මුදල් යටත් වෙනවා නම් එතකොට මහ බැංකුවේ කරන සියලුම කාර්යවලට පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ අනුමැතිය ලබාගත යුතුයි.
පබ්ලික් ෆයිනෑන්ස් සම්බන්ධව කටයුතු කරන ආකාරය පිළිබඳව මුදල් අමාත්‍යාංශයෙන් තමයි සර්කියුලර්ස් නිකුත් කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
මෙතෙක් කල අවුරුදු 70ක් තිස්සේ මහ බැංකුවේ මුදලෙන් සේවකයන්ට පඩි ගෙවපු එක පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කියන්නේ නැතුව අවසරයක් නැතුව අනුමත කරන්නේ නැතුව කරපු දේ ඔය නීතිය ඔබතුමාගේ ඉන්ටර්ප්‍රිටේෂන් අනුව ඒක වැරදිද? ඔව්. අනිකුත් ආයතන වලට ඒ නීතිය යටතේ මහ බැංකුවට දීපු පාර්ලිමේන්තු නීතිය යටතේ බලතල දීලා නැහැ. ඒතකොට ඒක නිසා තමයි ඒ අය අනුමැතිය ගන්න ඕන අමාත්‍යාංශ හරහා. ඒතකොට අපේ නීතිය හරහාම පාර්ලිමේන්තුවෙන් ඒකට විශේෂ හේතුවක් තියෙනවා. ඒක දීලා තියෙනවා. අනිත් එක තමයි ඔබතුමාට සම්පූර්ණ අයිතිය තියෙනවා නීති සම්පාදනය කරන්න. එතකොට ඒ නීති සම්පාදනය යටතේ තමයි මේ නීතිය සම්පාදනය දීලා තියෙන්නේ. දීපු බලය යටතේ තමයි අපි ක්‍රියා කරලා ඒකට ඔබතුමාලගේ අදහස කියන්න අපිට සදාචාරාත්මක නැත්තේ මේ අවස්ථාවේ පඩි වැඩි කිරීමද වැඩි කරපු ප්‍රමාණයද
මං හිතන්නේ වැඩි කරපු ප්‍රමාණය මං හිතන්නේ
ඒක පැහැදිලි කරගමු. එතකොට පළවෙනි කාරණේ මගේ මතය මහ බැංකුව විදිහට අපි කිසිම වෙලාවක කියලා පඩි වැඩි නොකළ යුතුයි කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ රජයේ ආර්ථික අර්බුදයෙන් එළියට එනකොට හැමෝගෙම ආදායම වැඩි වෙන්න ඕන අනිවාර්යයෙන්. එහෙම වුණොත් විතරයි මේකෙන් ගොඩ එන්න පුළුවන්. හැකි ආකාරයට හැකි පුද්ගලයාට හැකි ආයතනයට පුද්ගලිකව රාජ්‍යංශයට වැඩි කළ යුතු වැටුප හැකි ඉක්මනින් වැඩි කරන්න ඕන. එතකොට ඒක ඔබතුමාලා කියනවා නම් මේ වෙලාවේ නැතුව තව අවුරුද්දක් ඉඳලා මේක වැඩි කරන්න කියන එක ඒක ඔබතුමාලාගේ මතය. අපි ඒක සදාචාරාත්මකද අවුරුද්දකින් පස්සේ වැඩි කරොත්ද සදාචාරාත්මක දැන් වැඩි කරොත්ද සදාචාරාත්මක කියන එක ගැන තර්ක කරන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට වැඩි කරපු එකද නැත්නම් මොකද වැඩි කරපු එක කිව්වොත් රජයත් වැඩි කරලා තියෙන යම් කිසි ප්‍රමාණයක් පුළුවන් ආකාරයට.
නෑ වැඩි කරපු එක නෙමෙයිනේ අපි කිව්වේ වැඩි කරපු
ප්‍රමාණය.
දැන් මෙතන තියෙන ඔබලා නියාමනය වෙන ඒකාධිකාරයක්. රයිට් එතකොට කම්පිටිෂන් එකක් නැහැ. එතකොට දැන් මෙතන රෙගියුලේට් වෙන්නේ කොහෙන්ද? ඔබලාගේ මොනොපොලි එක ඒකාධිකාරී රෙගියුලේට් වෙන්නේ මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ.
අපිට නෑ මෙහෙමයි අපේ කම්පිටිෂන් එක තියෙන එම්ප්ලොයිස් පැත්තෙන් ගත්තාම අපිට තියෙනවා කම්පිටිෂන් එකක්.
නෑ ඒක ඇත්ත. හැබැයි ඒක ගරු ගවන ඒක හැම ආයතනයකම ආර්ථික විශේෂඥයන්ට පමණක් නෙවෙයිනේ අනික් කට්ටියටත් බලපානවානේ. දොස්තරලාට, එන්ජිනේරුවන්ලාට, ලෝයර්ස්ලාට.
කියන්නේ අපි මහ බැංකුවෙන් වැටුප් වැඩි කර නොකළ යුතුයි කියන පදනම නැහැ.
නෑ එතන නෙමෙයිනේ. අපි කියන්නේ ඔබලා නැවත සලකා බලන සදාචාරාත්මකව මේ වැඩි කිරීමේ ප්‍රමාණය ගැන. එච්චරයි බොහොමත්ම ස්තුතියි.
Meanwhile, also in Parliament today, the opposition Samaggi Janabalawege submitted a vote of no confidence against the Speaker of Parliament, Mahindayappa Abhiwardena, to the Deputy General Secretary of Parliament. The motion was made after the Speaker proceeded to ratify the recently legislated Online Safety Act, despite widespread opposition and controversy from certain civil groups and members of Parliament.
In Parliament today, the no-confidence motion against Speaker Mahindiyapa Abeyewardena was handed over to the Deputy Secretary-General of Parliament by the General Secretary of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya, Ranjit Maddum Bandara. It was signed by 44 parliamentarians, including Opposition Leader Sajith Premadasa, Chief Opposition Whip Lakshman Kiriyalla and Professor G.L. Pieris. The no-confidence motion alleges the Speaker's incompetency following the parliamentary ratification of the Online Safety Bill after widespread controversy. During the parliamentary debate, the matter pertaining to the increase of salaries of the central bank officials was taken into discussion.
කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේ ඊයේ මේක සාකච්ඡා කරලා තියෙනවා. අපි කැමති කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේ ගත්ත තීරණය මොකක්ද කියලා. ගරු සභානායකතුමා
අමාත්‍ය මණ්ඩලයේදී අපි කරුණු ඉදිරිපත් කළේ මේකේ තියෙන අසාධාරණත්වය පිළිබඳව. ඔබතුමාට ව්‍යංගයෙන් තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන් අපේ මතය මොකක්ද කියලා.
Few minutes ago I had the meeting Parliamentary Finance Public Finance Committee where we invited the central bank governor and his board to give explanations. How did they end up increasing salary for all the people except for the governor, averagely about 80% of the present salary? Because that was a question that the ordinary people of this country want to know. How did you do this? There again, the governor, whom I really respect, and the board, who are professional, their premise of explanation was entered upon saying that they had a collective bargaining agreement from 2000 onward. But my analysis is we cannot any further run this economy as we ran before the crisis. අරගලය ඇවිල්ලා ගිය පාරත් ගෙවල් ගිනි තිබ්බේ දේශපාලඥයන්ගේ. හැබැයි තව පාරක් අරගලයක් ආවොත් නම් ගිනි තියන්නේම රාජ්‍ය සේවකයන්ගේ ගෙවල් බවට මට විශ්වාසයක් තියෙනවා. එසේ නොවේවායි කියලායි මම ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරන්නේ.
2023 වර්ෂයේ අපි සම්මත කරපු මහා බැංකු පනත තුලින් ඒ අය කල්පනා කරනවා මහා බැංකුව අර මූල්‍ය ප්‍රතිපත්තිය ගණ්ඩ කරපු ස්වාධීනතාවය නිසා මහා බැංකුව සතු මුදලුත් ස්වාධීන කෙරුවා කියලා. සෙන්ට්‍රල් බැංක් එකේ ස්ථාවරය විදිහට ඒ අය කිව්වේ මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ මේ 148 වගන්ති යටතේ තියෙන බලය තියෙන්නේ ඒකාබද්ධ අරමුදලට පමණයි කියලා. මේක සම්පූර්ණ වැරදි මතයක්. මේ මත ඉඳලා තමයි සෙන්ට්‍රල් බැංක් එක නැත්තම් මහා බැංකුව ඒ අය කැමැති පරිදි තමන්ගේ සේවකයන්ට මුදල් පඩි වැඩි කරලා තියෙන්නේ. අපි දන්නවා මේ කාලේ කවුරුත් අමාරුවෙන් තමයි ජීවත් වෙන්නේ. හැබැයි මේ මහා බැංකුවේ යටම ඉන්න පියන් කෙනෙක්ගේ වැටුප අමාත්‍යංශ ලේකම්වරයෙක්ගේ වැටුපටත් වඩා වැඩි වාගේ තත්වයකට මේක ගෙනල්ලා තියෙනවා.
Well, the Cabinet of Ministers have granted approval to call for expressions of interest from private investors to develop the port of Galle as a leisure and commercial port. Further, a decision was taken to establish the Land Management Trust under the chairmanship of the Secretary to the President to issue government-owned lands for investment projects equipped with a transparent system. With that, let's look at some other cabinet decisions taken during its meeting last evening.
The Cabinet of Ministers has approved a proposal to establish the Land Management Trust under the chairmanship of the Secretary to the President to make appropriate recommendations regarding the release of land owned by the government and statutory institutions to investors. The decision has been taken to release 82% of the total land that is owned by the state for investments equipped with a transparent system. Another proposal has also been approved to implement the Suhuru School project to provide 1,000 schools that teach information and communication as a subject for the GCE Advanced Level Examination with the necessary equipment through the provisions of the Telecommunication Development Fee Fund. It was also decided that a scholarship program be commenced to provide financial assistance to 5,000 low-income families whose children are studying information and communication for the GCE Advanced Level Examination with the operational support of the President's Fund. The Cabinet of Ministers also approved a proposal to join the International Initiative Against Ransomware. Sri Lanka has received an invitation to join the International Inauguration Action Against Ransomware, which the United States had started as a common platform in 2021 with a group of 48 countries, including the European Union, as well as the International Police for International Coordination to eliminate ransomware threats. Finally, Cabinet has approved the call for expressions of interests from private investors to develop the Port of Galle as a leisure and commercial port under a public-private partnership. Interested parties will have to invest on a breakwater, seawall, deep passenger anchorage, channel and land filling, and subsequently mixed development projects to be set up on the filled land.
Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, called on the member states of the United Nations Human Rights Council to insist that the Sri Lankan government conduct independent investigations on matters including the Easter Sunday attacks and various murders and disappearances. Addressing the 13th meeting of the 55th regular sessions of the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva, the Cardinal pointed out that the government has repeatedly denied pleas to conduct a transparent investigation on the Easter Sunday attacks.
This 21st of April marks 5 years since the 2019 Easter Sunday attacks carried out in 3 churches and 3 hotels, killing 273 people and injuring more than 500. The governments that ruled the country since then conducted several investigations which fell far short of going into all the details of the case. New evidence has been brushed aside. Requests and pleas made by us for a transparent, independent investigation continue to be denied by the government of Sri Lanka. This situation has become worse, with the government making dictatorial and undemocratic moves to introduce laws curtailing media freedom with subjective definitions of terrorism in a way that can lead to arbitrary arrest, extended jail terms for those clamoring for justice in the country, or those calling for transparent investigations into all kinds of murders, disappearances and excesses in the past. Hence, we appeal to every right-thinking nation representing in the UNRC to insist on a transparent investigation into all these matters.
Well, police fired tear gas and water cannons in an attempt to disperse a protest organized by the students of the Peradeniya University today. The protest march, launched by several students' unions of the university, was against the deprivation of free health and free education rights. Meanwhile, in a separate development, a tense situation ensued when police had to once again intervene to redeem Dr. Rukshan Bellana, the Deputy Director of the Colombo National Hospital, who was held hostage in his office by the staff of the hospital.
A protest march was organized by the Peradeniya Students' Union today in front of the University of Colombo. The protest, launched against the deprivation of rights, including free health and free education, was participated in by several student unions of the Peradeniya University. Severe traffic congestion resulted in front of the University of Colombo owing to the protest march, after which a tense situation followed when riot police attempted to disperse the protesters using tear gas and water cannons. Meanwhile, several staff members of the Colombo National Hospital took measures to detain the Deputy Director of the Colombo National Hospital, Dr. Rukshan Bellana, inside his office. Accordingly, the situation escalated as a result of the inspection launched by the Ministry of Health to scrutinize the proper discharge of duty of the hospital staff. Subsequently, at 1:30 this afternoon, police intervened to rescue the Deputy Director from his office.
Well, before we bring you the next story, we must remind you that Facebook, the social media platform, is down globally as users attempt to log into their accounts. Millions of users.
I think you found out live when you actually wanted to log into your account, and she was like, apparently it's hacked, but it's not hacked.
I freaked out.
Yeah.
I was terrified that my account may have been hacked, and
But it's not hacked. It's apparently there's a Facebook outage all around the world. Now, as you can see behind our screens, there is a fuel pump, the story which we brought to you yesterday, and the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, Lanka IOC and Sinopec Energy revised the prices of their petroleum products with effects from midnight yesterday.
Now, the trial of 95-octane petrol, super diesel and kerosene also reductions, while the prices of auto diesel and 92-octane remained unchanged.
Now, the reduction along with the new prices are laid out for you in the following studio package.
State fuel supplier Ceylon Petroleum Corporation announced a revision of its fuel prices which came into effect at midnight yesterday. As a result, 95-octane petrol saw a reduction of 9 rupees with its new price at 447 rupees per litre. Super diesel was reduced by 10 rupees to its new price of 458 rupees per litre, and kerosene was reduced by 5 rupees to a new price of 257 rupees per litre since midnight yesterday. However, the prices of 92-octane petrol and auto diesel remain unchanged. Accordingly, 92-octane petrol and Lanka auto diesel will continue to be sold at 371 rupees and 363 rupees respectively. Following the fuel price revision of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, Lanka IOC and Sinopec too revised their fuel prices in line with the CPC. As previously announced by the Chinese petroleum company Sinopec, the prices of 92-octane petrol and Lanka auto diesel will stand at 368 rupees and 360 rupees respectively. The public transportation unions expressed their views on the latest fuel price revision.
මසකට කෙටිදුර දහවන බස් රථයක් රුපියල් 30000ක අවම පාඩුවක් ලබනවා. සාමාන්‍ය ඩීසල් මිල වහාම අඩු කළ යුතුව තිබෙනවා. එහෙම නොවුනොත් අපිට සිද්ධ වෙනවා බස් ගාස්තු වැඩි කිරීමට වහාම යන්න.
ඔටෝ ඩීසල් වැඩි වෙලා නැහැ. අඩු වෙලත් නැහැ. ඒ නිසා ඉන්ධන බලපෑමක් නිසා බස් ගාස් සංශෝධනයකට බලපෑමක් ඇති වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
දැන් ඊයේ රාත්‍රියේ ඉඳන් රුපියල් 10ක අඩු කෙරුණා. දැන් ඔබතුමාලා වෙනස් කිරීමක් කරන්නේ නැද්ද?
රුපියල් 10න් මොනවාද මහත්තයෝ කරන්න පුළුවන්? දෙමව්පියොත් එක්කයි අපු ගනුදෙනු කරන්නේ කාත් එක්ක වන්නේ. ඒ නිසා මේ මිනිස්සුන් අමාරුයි දාන්න බැරි කමට අපි ගාස්තු වැඩි නොකර ඒ පාඩුව දරාගෙන දුවනවා.
Meanwhile, in Parliament today, Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara provided the rationale behind the price reduction of various fuels.
ඊයේ දවසේ තමයි මිල සංශෝධනය කරේ. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි හැමදාම කරේ එක්කෝ මාසේ අවසාන දවසේ රාත්‍රී කරේ. නමුත් ඊයේ කරන්න හේතු වුණේ ඊයේ කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයෙන් අපි අනුමැතිය ගත්තා යම් සංශෝධනයක් කරන්න අපේ මේ මිල සූත්‍රය වෙනුවෙන්. මොකද මේ මිල සූත්‍රයේ දීලා තියෙනවා ලාභාංශ කොටසක් 104ක් ලබා ගැනීම වෙනුවෙන් ඉඩ ලබා දීලා තිබුණා. ඔටෝ ඩීසල් වලට අත්‍තරම අපි 104ක ලාභාංශත් තිබුණොත් අපි රුපියල් 12කින් විතර වගේ මිල වැඩි කරන්න වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා මිල වැඩි නොකරන්න තිබිච්ච එකම ක්‍රමය තමයි කීයක්වත් ලාභාංශ නැතුව තියෙන එක. සුපර් ඩීසල් සහ සුපර් පෙට්‍රල් වෙනුවෙන් තවමත් 104ක ලාභාංශ කොටසක් තියලා තියෙනවා. ඒ තියලත් තමයි අර රුපියල් 9ක් සහ රුපියල් 10ක් භූමි තෙල් වලට අපි ලාභාංශ තියලා තිබුණේ නැහැ. ලාභාංශ බිඳුවයි. ඒ අනුව ඊයේ තමයි රුපියල් 5ක් තව වැඩිපුර තිබුණා. ඒ 5 අඩු කරා. 92 සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපි 104ම උපරිම ප්‍රමාණයට ගියේ නැහැ. මේ මිලේම පවත්ව ගන්න ඕන නිසා 1.8ක ලාභාංශ කොටසක් විතරයි 92 වෙනුවෙන් ඊයේ දවසේ අපි තීන්දුව කරේ මේ වෙනුවෙන් තියන්න. ඒ නිසා මේක අපිට අර සුපර් ඩීසල් වල ලාභ අපිට අයින් කරලා ඔටෝ ඩීසල් වලට දෙන්නත් බෑ. ඔටෝ ඩීසල් වල තියෙන එක සුපර් ඩීසල් වලට දෙන්නත් බෑ.
New Dulux Pentolite Hygiene Plus. Refreshing walls for generations. Dulux, Dulux, Dulux.
Welcome back. We take you to business news now. Sri Lanka's Export Development Board confirmed that year-on-year earnings from merchandise exports fell 0.77% in the month of January this year, recording a total of $970.7 million. The board confirmed that during the month, agricultural exports showed a modest increase of 3.58%, reaching $225.43 million. However, industrial exports experienced a decline of 2.08% during the same period, dropping to $744.77 million. Export earnings from tea, which made up for 12% of merchandise exports increased by 2.63% from a year earlier to $102.18 million US. Export earnings from apparel and textile dropped 10.17% to $380.1 million US in January, while the exports of apparel and textile to the United States, the United Kingdom and the European Union region decreased by 10.16%, 1.78% and 9.54% respectively. Further, the EDB mentioned that of the top 10 export markets, Italy, Germany and Canada have shown strong performances during the period. Exports to the United States of America, Sri Lanka's single largest export destination, decreased by 13.46% to $220.48 million US from a year earlier. In January alone, exports to India and Pakistan constituted 6.5% of the total merchandise exports, experiencing a notable 16.76% decrease, reaching $62.03 million from a year earlier.
To the stock market now. Now the Colombo Bourse continued its upward trajectory for a third consecutive day, driven by growing retailer confidence. Analysts believe market confidence is improving with the easing of uncertainties. Notably, select banking counters, including Commercial Bank, DFCC and NDB, saw active collection as investors started bargain hunting following previous price declines. The benchmark all-share price index started on a solid note and maintained its steep jump, reaching an intraday high of 10,878 before closing the day at a near three-month high of 10,842. with a gain of 36 points. Retail interest was witnessed on LIOC following the announcement of unchanged prices for auto, diesel and petrol. Now, turnover for the day stood at 1.5 billion rupees, with significant contributions from the capital goods and banking sectors, accounting for a joint contribution of 38%. And during the session, Banco do Porcelain witnessed a stake change of 3.3% through an off-board transaction totaling to 5.4 million shares at 28 rupees each. Trading volumes on the index fell to 73.7 million shares from 94.6 million shares in the previous session. Foreign investors were net sellers, offloading stocks worth 136.2 billion rupees, while domestic investors were net buyers, purchasing shares worth 1.50 billion rupees.
Now, oil prices steadied today after falling in the previous sessions as the prospect of a tighter market due to the OPEC Plus supply cuts counteracted the uncertainty over the pace of interest rate cuts. Brent crude futures climbed by 8 cents or 0.1% to $82.88 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures fell by 6 cents to $78.68 a barrel. Neither the U.S. nor any other major economy has shown any sign of expediting the proposed reductions to their respective interest rates, leading to a bearish trend in oil prices. However, some OPEC Plus members on Sunday extended their voluntary oil output cuts into the second quarter, which is expected to aid prices to rebound from recent dips. The latest round of U.S. inventory reports are expected to show an increase of about 2.6 million barrels in crude stocks, while distillates and gasoline stockpiles are forecast to decline.
Well, here's your currency rates for the day. Well, it's 9:45. We have to give way to world news. And so we have to quickly run through the international stories we have. You can catch the details of that on our World News Tonight segment, which is coming right after this. Trump can actually run, and the other story that we wanted to bring you was about the France making abortion illegal.
That's also coming up, but Instagram and Facebook are still down as thousands across the globe attempt to log into their accounts. That's all from us here tonight. I'm Indiveri Amwatha.
Mahesh Johnny, have a good night.